Well, I think what the mayor said and what you said, I mean, I don't think you guys have addressed the issue. You see, there is a moral responsibility on the United States because this problem was brought to Nigeria's doorstep by the actions of the Obama administration. If the Obama administration had not intervened in Libya, if Gaddafi was a nasty piece of work, but he stabilized his country. If Gaddafi had not been killed, and if all those foreign mercenaries hadn't left Libya to come here, Boko Haram started. They were not violent at the beginning. Mohammed Yusuf used to have debates. He had a debate with Issa Pantami. He had a debate. That's what he was doing. He was killed, and then these guys came in and they did a hostile takeover of Boko Haram, and then that was what happened. They had arms. If the United States had not done what they did in Libya, we would not be facing a torrent, not just us, the Sahelian countries. So they just say that, okay, well, we've got minerals and we've got this, and you don't know. No, 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 no. Listen, you have a moral responsibility. The United States has a moral responsibility because government is a continuum. You know, so we've seen in cases whereby the United States has paid reparations. We're not asking. Under Obama, they used a law called the Leahy Law after causing a problem to deny this country weapons. We had to go and purchase weapons on the black market. So Nigeria is paying a price for a problem that we did not cause. So, I mean, I don't want people to just come here and just say, oh, look, our president did say, I think this was about 2 months ago, that, look, I don't need President Trump because I have met my revenue target. We're doing the best that we can as a country. We're fighting corruption. We're growing our economy. Our economy has grown. I mean, we've added $67 billion to our economy in 2 years. The last quarter, it grew by 4.3%. Our economy is growing faster than our population. But this problem was caused by the actions of the Obama administration. Thank God for a good man like President Trump that lifted the objections of the Leahy Law and began selling weapons to us, like, for example, the Toscano jets. But the United States caused this problem, and they need to help us fix it.
So many Nigerians still do not understand how US, United States of America, UK, United Kingdom, EU or Europe, and China are making Nigerians poor, broke, and hungry. We say that the EU, that UK, that the US are responsible for the problems we have in Nigeria. Are we trying to exonerate? Are we trying to excuse our leaders for their bad decisions and bad actions and bad policies? The answer is no. Should we blame our leaders? 100% blame them. Where we differ is this. If you stop at blaming our leaders alone, you are only trying to treat the symptom and not the disease. Our leaders and their actions, they are the symptoms. The disease that is causing the symptom, they are a group of people I called the global or global cabal or the colo cabal. It is an elite group of people in the US-led West, in fact in the global North, that are pushing their agenda against Nigeria. If you stop at blaming our leaders, and by all means blame our leaders, I support you to blame our leaders. Why the hell would we not blame our leaders? Why would we not blame Tinubu? Why would we not blame Akpabio? Why would we not blame the senators, the governors? Why not? They have a share in the blame. But here is the kicker. Here is where we need to focus and check the matter again. If we stop at blaming our leaders alone, we're treating the symptoms and not the disease. How is it that in 2025, when we are not in the slave trade era, when we are not in the colonial era, in 2025, how is it that a Europe, a UK, or a US can be blamed, is responsible for the poverty and the hunger, the insecurity in Nigeria, and by extension in Africa? How? Let me explain. We have abundant mineral and natural resources that if we utilize them for the benefit of Nigerians, Nigeria will be one of the greatest countries in the world. But you see, this our blessing has also now become a curse, because these abundant blessing, these abundant mineral and natural resources that Nigeria has, this elite group of people I call the Kolo Cabal, they want it too. They want what we have. So the question is, okay, if they want what we have, why don't they buy it legitimately? Why don't they come out openly to share it with us? Yeah, good question, except that that's not the only thing they want. In addition to wanting our mineral and natural resources, they want another thing. In fact, two other things. They want us not to benefit from our resources. Yes. And then they want us as Nigerians to depend on these colo countries for goods and services that they make from our mineral and natural resources. They want three things in all now. And in order to achieve these three things, they need to corrupt our leaders, because it is only our leaders that can help them achieve these their three goals. This is 2025. There is a new rules-based order that they put in place in 1944 when they were setting up the World Bank, the IMF, the CIA and all that. Or the CIA came way before that. But the CIA actively participated in creating all of these institutions. They created a new rules-based world order where the concept of sovereignty of nations was established in the United Nations Charter. Because of this new rules-based system, no country, no matter how powerful, can openly meddle in the affair of another country, because by the new UN Charter, every country is a sovereign state. They have control over the activities and the affairs of their countries within their territorial borders. But that is on paper and that is openly. So how can this elite group of people in the US-led West, how can they achieve those three wicked goals that they have? They need to do it secretly. They need to do it secretly without anybody knowing. They hide, yes, to do whatever the hell that they do. And the first thing they need is that they need our government by their own self to implement policies that will help them achieve those their three sinister and wicked goals. So you will say they will stay where they are and say, not be also, we not get hard inside though. Shebi na your government now implement the policy. It looks like that in the open so they can maintain plausible deniability. But underhand, it gets waiting them don't do. And these are the things that we fail to realize as Nigerians. And we continue to treat symptoms rather than treat the disease. The disease, not the EU, not the US, not Europe, not the global north, not China. They are the disease. I know that very dark man is in China now. In his mind, sincerely, he believes that he's trying to help Nigerians by helping China to dump Chinese goods in Nigeria. I hope you know that's what he's doing. He's sincere. I'm not blaming him for that. Now, so you know I'm rich. But the truth must be told. How many Nigerians can raise 10 million naira to invest in those goods that are coming from China? That is the point where you begin to critically look at what he's doing. But then he believes that China is trying to help us. But the truth remains, China cannot help us genuinely when they know that helping us will make us potentially better than them. Every country is selfish. It's just that we are not selfish enough to be able to stand for our own people. So, in the long run, these global north countries, they need our own government to implement the policies with their own hand. So they will say, is it not Tinubu that removed fuel subsidy? Is it not Tinubu that devalued the naira? Is it not Tinubu that privatized electricity? When I say privatized electricity, I'm not saying he's the one that started it. Before you people come to argue unnecessarily. Let's focus on the issue. Is it not Tinubu that increased school fees? Is it not Tinubu that increased the tariff on electricity? Is it not Tinubu through the NCC that allowed increase in telecommunication tariffs? Is it not Tinubu? Is it not Tinubu? Is it not Tinubu? That is what the IMF and the World Bank and the CIA, that's what they will be saying. But the question is, why did Tinubu do it? Did Tinubu do it in the interest of Nigeria? That's a question I would like you to answer. Even Buhari, that we say is not intelligent, is not smart, was smart enough to say, look, I don't try small now. My people are poor. This thing you are asking me to do, I cannot do it. Buhari said it even to Christine Amanpour on international TV. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Tinubu is dancing to their tune. Why? Remember what Obasanjo said to Charles Soludo when Charles Soludo was CBN governor. Never you say no to IMF and World Bank, but never you do their bidding. If you say no, they will drag your nose on the ground. What does Obasanjo mean by that? Remember when our own Murtala Mohammed was threatened by the then US president, Gerald Ford, I can't remember his name. And Murtala was furious. And then he was so angry. The trip that his deputy, who was Olusegun Obasanjo then, was supposed to make to United Nations, to African Union, to speak for Congo, that trip, Murtala Mohammed cancelled it. And he did not only cancel it, he decided to go himself. And then the letter of threat that the American president sent through the US ambassador in Lagos, Murtala published that letter. And in fact, he did not only publish that letter in Nigeria, he published it on the New York Times in US, exposed the secret threat that the US president threatened him. Many of you don't know, when Babangida overthrew Buhari in his inaugural speech, the videos are there on YouTube. The first thing he said, we have spoken with the IMF and the World Bank, and we are going to implement their suggestions. You just overthrew Muhammadu Buhari. When did you talk to IMF and World Bank? Because if we don't understand how these elite group of people in the US-led West continue to force corrupt leaders on us, we will not be able to solve the problems correctly. It will not matter who we bring, because they always have a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. They have multiple candidates. All of them corrupt. Oh, they make it look as if you have a choice. But really, there's none. They have multiple candidates that, oh, if this candidate does not work, that candidate will work. And they have their blackmail tools, their blackmail information that they will use to force and threaten those leaders to implement the policies that will help this wicked Kolo cabal to achieve their goals. Babangida just overthrew a Buhari. And while he's given his first speech after the overthrow, he's talking about discussing with IMF. When did you discuss with IMF? Or was it IMF that helped you to overthrow Buhari? Nigerians, we could add one and one together. Let's see if it will make two. We need to understand how these people do it. They blackmail our leaders. They force corrupt leaders on us. And it's possible because they operate in darkness. All we need to do is shine light on top of it. If you watch the revelation of John Perkins in this book, The Economic Hitman, you would understand how these people operate in darkness and how the solution is to shed light on their activities. Understanding how these people force bad leaders on us is the first step towards saving Nigeria. If we don't understand it, we're done for. If we don't understand it, we won't understand how to fix it. We will continue to treat symptoms while the disease gets worse. Or if I would like to use the word on social media, getting worse and worse. So how do they do it? How do they do it? This is the 1 billion naira question. How do they achieve this their goal? They forced leaders on us. I'll tell you why, very quickly. Blackmail. They make sure that the people that get thrown up for elections are people with question marks. So they can go ahead and use those question marks to blackmail them into doing what they want. Do you see the similarity between what I just said now and what is happening with Tinubu as president of Nigeria? And that is why we need to come together, because if we don't think that what happened in 2015 with Jonathan will happen with Tinubu. Jonathan had one thing working against him, which was 50% of the reason why he lost. He went against this same Kolo cabal. he didn't do their bidding. They were not satisfied with the way he was saying he was handling the fuel subsidy removal, that he did not succeed. They were not satisfied. And the one that even got them angry the most was the fact that he now passed the anti-gay law, same-sex marriage prohibition law, that infuriated them. So they came with full force, openly supporting APC. We went there. We went to go and get them to come and help us. Many people don't know. This is the starting point why APC was able to win. And in 2025, 10 years after, look, Tinubu has these people solidly behind him because he's implementing their policies. Yes, the policies are making Nigerians poorer. The policies are eroding and removing our purchasing power. But what can we do? If we do not organize, what chances do we have? And that is why you see that they make sure they put structures in place to distract us, to divide us, so that we're not able to unify, to unite, to push him out. That is the only way to push him out. Because you see, this elite group of people in the US-led West, the number one tool they use to force bad leadership on us, in order for them to achieve their goal, is to blackmail them. The second tool is to threaten them with destabilization of their government. That was what they did to Buhari. Because after they got Buhari into power, they thought they could manipulate him. And then the first thing Buhari did was, oh, I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody. And they said, this guy, why would you be saying that now? Next thing, we heard they poisoned him. And so they flew the man out. 3 months, he was out of the country. I guess he learnt his lesson. His eyes were opened. In that same UK. And so, when he came back, anything I want to know, I do. And so it was a field day for corruption. The corruption that went on a pause, immediately Buhari came. That corruption now came with full force after he came back from UK. After he survived the rumored poisoning. But even that was not enough for them, because after a while they started telling him, remove this subsidy. He kept holding back. Devalue this naira. He kept holding back. In fact, if that was the only thing he did, they would not have bothered. He now decided to weaken the US dollar by engaging the China-Nigeria currency swap in 2019-2020. This elite group of people then went to work. They will always look for means, legitimate causes that they will infiltrate to drive home their point. And so they saw the NSAS and they keyed into it. They did not start the NSAS, but they keyed into the NSAS to send a message to Buhari, not try this your currency swap with China. Many of you were excited, NSAS was a success, NSAS was a success. But you don't know why NSAS was a success. Where did the money come from? Why are we not getting those kinds of money for the End Bad Governance protest? Why? Because there's a difference. During the NSAS protest, the government of Buhari was doing something they didn't like. So they needed to join us to fight Buhari. Legitimate cause, no doubt. But in the case of End Bad Governance, Tinubu is doing what they like. So they refuse to give we the people the support to fight Tinubu. That's the big difference. So the second tool they use, threat of destabilization. They will threaten you to destabilize you. The third one is the threat of coup, whether military or election coup. I said it before, there is no African politician that can rig election without the knowledge of the Europeans and the Americans. It doesn't matter how strategic you say they are, because many of you say, Tinubu is a master strategist. Not lie. He's only as good a master strategist as he is as the elite group of people in the US-led West allow him. And so far as he's doing their bidding, it will be hard to use the conventional methods of protest, of talking about campaign of calumny against him. It will be difficult to use those methods to defeat him. It will be. I know we like to come out and, we are exposing Tinubu. We exposed all the exposable in 2023. And somehow, because he's going to do the bidding, or he's doing the bidding of this Kolo cabal, they forced him on us. If we do not understand how they did it, they will force him on us again in 2027. And in 2031, they will force another person on us. And the cycle of poverty will continue. That is why it is critical that we understand how they do it. They use coup. They threaten coups. All the coups in Nigeria, they were masterminded by this same elite group of people in the US-led West. No coup can happen without the knowledge of the elite group of people in the US-led West and in the global North. No coup. Many people don't understand that the coup in Guinea, in Burkina Faso, is it Guinea now? Burkina Faso, Mali, yes, Guinea. Those coups did not happen without the knowledge of the Americans. The Americans thought that they were using these coupists to remove France because they wanted what France was getting from this country, the uranium and some other resources. They wanted it. Don't forget, if you are a follower of world politics, you will see that there is this cold rivalry between America and France. There is. In fact, there is between America and UK. They just don't say it. It's just that there's this overall interest that they all rally behind the US for. That's Russia and China. But within themselves, there's still that small bitter current that is flowing amongst them. The US thought that, by supporting the coupists will kick out France and align with them. But they were mistaken. Rather than align with US, the coupists chose to align with Russia. No coup can happen in Africa without the knowledge of this elite group of people in the global North, led by the US. No coup can happen. No rigging can happen. So if we understand this, we will know how to appraise our leaders. It is through policies that they implement. Look at all the policies of Tinubu. I say it without any sense of being vindictive. Tinubu cannot do well for Nigeria. It's not that Tinubu is not a good person. It's just that this Kolo cabal will not allow him to be a good person, even if he wanted to. You have heard it several times when people who used to be with Tinubu as a governor will come out and tell you, this is not the Tinubu we used to know. What changed? Now he's leading a full country, and these Kolo cabals, they want their will done. So they force policies on him that he himself knows are not good for Nigeria. He knows. All this while we are shouting, fuel subsidy. Tinubu knows those policies are not good for Nigeria. But he has no choice because the people that helped him to power must get what they want. So they will use whatever means to blackmail him. Why do you think Tinubu was so hard on the bad governance protesters to the extent of jailing children? It's because he knows what this elite group of people in the US-led West can do. This Kolokaba, he knows. He knows. They were used to do it in time past. So he knows. And we Nigerians must understand how these things work so that we can fix this country. They use aid. They use debt. They'll give you loans that you don't need. They tell you, right now they're telling us our crude oil, we don't have crude oil again because we have used all the crude oil for forward sales agreement. What a joke. What a joke. You mean we have used all our crude oil? We are doing 1.5 million. They say it's 2 million barrels per day now. All the 2 million barrels per day, you cannot get 650, 700,000 barrels of crude oil to give to Dangote to refine in Nigeria. You cannot get. Seriously. You have used all of it for forward sales agreement, for loans that you collected. What did you do with these loans? No transparency, nothing. In fact, we should do this. They should give us an account of all the forward sales agreement that we have, how much money we have borrowed, and what we did with those money. It's an information that we're entitled to through the Freedom of Information Act, and we should ask for it. But this is how they do it. If we don't understand, then we won't know how to choose the right leaders. I say it before. We make a mistake of thinking that what we need is to get leaders with integrity. And I gave the analogy. I'll give it again. A leader, it is a waste of time and energy to be looking for a goat with integrity when you have to put that goat in the same room with tubers of yam. You can't be looking for a goat with integrity. No. You can't possibly get a goat with integrity that will, on his own, based on its own integrity, refuse to eat the tubers of yam. If you find it, it will be rare. So what you need to do is to get a good rope, a very strong one. Tie the neck of the rope of the goat to one end and tie the other end to a pole. So that the farthest the goat can go, he will still not be able to reach the yam. That way you don't need to waste your time looking for, leader with integrity, leader with integrity. No, goat with integrity, no. Any goat you see, put it there. Put the rope. The goat will not be able to eat the yam, even if it wanted. That is what laws do for civilized countries. We're supposed to have those laws here. We're supposed to have those laws that we guide and restrict government officials from implementing policies that are inimical to Nigeria. That's what they do, particularly in America. Nobody does it better than America. America will make a law. They have a law called the Defense Act. It's, countering American adversaries through Sanctions Act, CATSA. They have all manner of things that will prevent a private company from selling their products to certain countries.